Good morning everybody and welcome back. In this video we hoard ordinary household items, shoot at our friends and generally don't have a clue about what's going on.
Huh?
That's right fellas, we're playing Escape from Tarkov, the looter shooter from hell that will have you murdering people for no chance that they have a can of beef stew in their pockets. And also so you can add the dog tags to the morbid collection you keep in your stash for sentimental reasons. This one I shot in Shoreline like 2 days ago. He put up a good fight, but not good enough if you know what I'm saying. The objective of the game is, despite the name, not to escape, but to build a permanent base and complete quests for 6 in-game traders who also don't want to escape. To do any of these objectives, you need to go into different maps and find resources to bring out, to either use yourself or to sell to get money so you can get better gear to defend yourself while you're out on a raid to get more stuff. Our goal for today is to get to level 15, which is when you get access to the flea market and start amassing fat stacks of rubles, and to give you an idea about how the first week of Tarkov can be for your regular Yo player. So, with that out of the way, let me tell you about my first week of the Tarkov wipe. Day 1. Our journey began with picking our name, which is very important in this game because it is the last thing a player sees as he is transported back to the stash without any of his stuff. So you want to pick something that is really lame, so whoever is killed by you will look at it and cringe just a little bit at how awful your name is and that they died to someone with it. So naturally I wanted to go with something like XX Mr. Murder XX, but unfortunately it wasn't available. So, having recently seen Mad Max, I went with Lord Humongous, or the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla. And naturally, I spelt it wrong. Good job, me. Later, I would change it to XX_Mr. Death_XX, which in my opinion has the perfect amount of cringe to it. So if you have died to me, by the way, I have no regrets. Get fucked, noob. After that, we made our dude and arrived at the stash, where the first thing we had to do before going out on our first raid of the wipe was to identify everything the traders had in store, so we wouldn't have to identify it in raid, and also, so we would ding. Nice! We also accepted some quests, then geared up and went to woods with my good friend Goose, who had chosen the name Black Butter for himself. Thank you, Goose. We spawned in at the southeastern corner of the map and immediately made our way towards the forward operating base in search of saliva kits, food, and locals to kill for the aforementioned quests. Being a high-action area, especially at the start of the wipe, we did a smart thing and split up. Was this actually a smart thing to do? No, splitting up is definitely not a thing you should be doing if your entire tactical vocabulary consists of "is that you?" and "he's over there by the tree." Like ours does. But we did it anyway. On my wide flank around the left side of the base, I was caught in the open by one of the angry locals, whose first reaction upon seeing me was to attempt to kill me so he could steal my shoes. I can't say I blame the guy, especially since this dude has told me to kill 5 people like him at random in exchange for an SMG and some cash. The angry local was dead, and so was my arm, which for lack of a better term was pissing out blood because of a heavy bleed. And this being the first raid of the wipe, I naturally forgot to bring anything to stop it with, except for maybe my finger, but unlike you, I actually know where it's been, so that is not an option, my guy. So, in desperation, I decided to push the FOB, which Goose had confirmed contained at least one more PMC. Could I have waited a little bit more outside the base and get Goose to back me up? Yes, that would have been the smart thing to do. A single heavy bleed, while potentially fatal, will take quite some time to kill you. But my monkey brain was set to fight or flight mode and I was going to kill anyone standing between me and a cleanish looking cork. I push up and find the PMC. A short but intense firefight breaks out, which ends the moment he shoots me in the face and I die. Not the best start ever, but at least I got my gear all bloody, so I'd count that as a win. After that we gear up again and went straight back in, and this time we were joined by my other good friend, Rickard. This time we spawned in on the complete opposite side of the map. Since there were 3 of us at this point and I didn't want to miss out on any loot, I decided to take a shortcut down from a very large rock I looted and broke both my legs. Oh, fuck! Broken legs, while not directly fatal in this game, forces you to walk at the speed of the pet rock you had in 4th grade. In other words, it's way worse than that, but thankfully I had my friends with me and it only took me about 5 minutes of bitching and moaning for them to give up their splints. I was once again blessed with the ability to walk, a fact that I immediately celebrated by stealing this armor needed for a quest from a scav one of my friends have killed, because that's what friends do. After that we did some more looting, and on the way out Rickard got himself shot by one of the locals. A fact that me and Goose were very sad about. Dibs on all his shit, it's mine! Then we took the car out, and raid number 2 was a great success. Well, for most of us. We had found some quest items, gotten a bunch of experience, and generally gotten back into the swing of things. Since the servers were committing dead at this point, I decided to call it a day. Day 2. I began the day with the intentions of unlocking the 6th and final trader, Jaeger, which you do by going to this hunting tower in the middle of nowhere and picking up a letter and handing it to this dude. I spawned in a very favorable spot to get there before anyone else did, and knowing that a lot of people would be wanting to get their hands on that letter, I hatched a devious plan. I would take the letter and then wait around and shoot anyone else that came looking for it. It was not only devious, it was brilliant and more than a little cunning. I stood to make hundreds of rubles if all went according to plan. So I got to the tower, picked up the letter and lay my ambush. Mere moments later, my first victim was approaching. My heart was pounding with the taboo of what I was about to do. And that's when it hit me. Like lightning from clear sky, and I'm not talking about some life-altering revelation about how wrong the thing I was about to do was, but a life-ending swarm of 7mm buckshot. God damn it! How did he know? It was a foolproof plan! God damn it! Karma is a bitch, and I hate her guts. I died a few more times after that and was once again joined by Rickard. We played a few more raids where I found a Zelda kit, got the letter for Jaeger, found this cool helmet, this gas analyzer, almost shot Rickard in the back trying to kill a scav, and blew most of my money on my first lucky junk box to store all my junk in. Progress was made. Later that night, Rickard and I had come up with yet another cunning plan. Having died quite a bit during the day, we decided that fighting fair just wasn't for us. You see, in Escape from Tarkov, every player has an extract, a place they have to go in order to get out of the raid with all the things they have collected. These extracts are different depending on where you spawn, but they're generally on the other side of the map. So, knowing where roughly half of the server will inevitably end up, you could theoretically put yourself into a position to take advantage of said players by gunning them down when they're trying to escape. This is of course frowned upon by the majority of the player base, but as I said, we had died quite a bit. So we went to customs, and 15 minutes later we were starting to use words like extract protection and tax to rich. We were imagining all of the cool stuff we were about to get our hands on, and that's when we heard it. The stomping of a pair of heavy, loot-laden boots. He came running out of the house in front of us, and my first and only shotgun blast caught him square in the shoulder, while his got me right in the face. It is safe to say that day 2 had been on the whole a pretty bad day. Day 3, I suited up in my swankiest swag and we went to woods once again. Oh baby, I make this shit look good. Looted a user camp and saw 2 men running into a small outhouse together, so naturally, we decided to kill them. We snuck up on the house in question and started blasting. I got the first guy that ran out, who probably got the scare of his life after 3 men opened up on him and went to finish his friend. This did not happen, because halfway through the attempted double homicide, my AK jammed. But as always, I remained completely calm during the whole incident. No, don't let him fucking kill me! Thankfully, Rickard was there to save my ass, but it was a close one. So we took our spoils, and Goose, in his infinite kindness, and because he didn't want to listen to my character slowly drowning in his own blood anymore, paid for my car ride home. Thank you, Goose. After 18 raids, I had survived 10, which is not bad. We had finished a few quests and was generally pretty much on track. So to celebrate, I went to kill about 20 scavs of woods, which I forgot to record. But don't worry about it, it looked something like this. Yeehaw, shucklefuck! When I had killed all the scavs, Rickard requested me to serve as his bodyguard while he killed his own scavs, so, being the cool guy that I am, I naturally accept. And to really make sure he made it, I also summoned Goose to act as my bodyguard while I bodyguard Rickard. Basically, Goose was the guy that gets the tea for the guy who gets the coffee. Which was rather fortunate, since on our way to the scav house, a known scav hideout, we ran into another 3-man squad and had the first real firefight of the wipe that lasted more than 5 seconds. After dumping about 3 mags into my guy's general direction, he finally succumbed to the lead poisoning he was obviously suffering from. So I took his Mosin and jumped up on the rock we fought around to provide fire support for my friend. Seeing a guy pushing from the woods, I started blasting, hitting him in the arm, which was a fact that Goose wasn't very happy about since the arm belonged to him. Shortly after that, Rickard cleaned up the last guy and I got my hands on a cool new pistol, and then I ran to place down last food for Jaeger, shot a scav, found this AFK PMC, looted FOB, and got out. Day 4. We began the day by going to customs to get our hands on the unknown key on this body so we could enter this house and get some documents for skier. Being the first week of the wipe, we naturally weren't the only ones wanting to get our hands on it. But thankfully, I had brought with me my trusty shotgun to ward off any unwanted attention. That's right, you better run, bitch! A few swarms of buckshot and our rival was on the run. I keystered the key and went to finish what I started. During our epic battle, a third party arrived from down the road, so I started unloading on him as well, before smearing the first one's brains all over this wall. Nuts. After a brief firefight, my enemy lost his nerve and I tried to shoot him in the back with my pistol as he made his cowardly escape. And that's when it clicked. Where had Rickard been during this whole fight? Sure, it hadn't lasted more than a minute, but he was right behind me all the way. Turns out that Rickard was the third party, and we had pummeled each other into a pulp. This was one of the rookiest mistakes we had ever made, and we felt suitably embarrassed about the whole situation. So we looted a guy and swore to never speak of this incident ever again. And that's when the real third party arrived and promptly shot me in the face. Ah, fuck! But we had the key, so while we weren't happy about the situation, all was not lost. So we went back in, picked up the documents, had a firefight with these guys, killed the scav, performed major surgery in that dirty, poorly lit place, made our way out, turned in the documents and went back in to pick up some more documents. But this time from Big Red. And unfortunately we didn't have the key, so our only hope was that someone had been there before us and opened it up. So we looted a crack house to give the people some time to clear out and made our way there. And to our surprise, it was open. We couldn't believe our luck. To get this quest done on the first try is virtually unheard of, but my trouble senses were tingling, so I went to check things out through the windows before going in. Which turned out being a smart move because Rickard immediately caught a bullet with his forehead, so I started blasting. A few seconds later I joined my friend in headshot heaven. Of the 27 shots I had fired, only 5 had actually hit. Well, that's not great. Fuck, I wasn't very happy about the situation, but I had no one to blame but myself, which makes it all so much worse. But in the raid after that one, I did this. Found a gas analyzer and finished 2.5 quests for therapists. So I would say that day 4 was overall a success. Day 5. We decided to make a foray into the new map Streets of Tarkov. This was a terrible mistake, because the first players we ran into made my PC want to commit die. In the slideshow that followed, all I could see was a man that looked suspiciously like Santa, holding a gun. I can't say for sure if Santa was the one that gunned me down like a dog in the street, but I have my suspicions. Think about it. He has ways to transport him around the entire world in one night, and the ability to enter any house. Now, I'm not saying that Santa is moonlighting as an international hitman, but I'm pretty sure that Santa is moonlighting as an international hitman. Man, from that point forward, we decided to stick to what we know. So, we went back into the customs to get the unknown documents for Rickard. As we got to the industrial area, we heard someone speaking.
Help, help.
So, being the brave boy that I am, I decided to check it out while Rickard got his stuff from the shed. Turns out that our mystery man had jumped into some concrete cylinders and gotten himself stuck. So naturally, I tried to help him turn a disadvantage into an advantage. Look at the bright side, my guy. At least you got yourself a pimpin' coffin.
Yeah.
3 mags later, and the man had been convinced to see things my way, and I had finished another quest. Very good. Day 6. Having died quite a bit on some pretty uneventful raids, Rickard and I once again decided to be a little cunning. In the previous wipe, we had found out about a certain tree on customs. A tree that might be able to earn us a whole lot of rubles if we played it cool. And oh boy, did it work. We killed not 1, not 2, but 3 PMCs, one of which was geared as fuck and level 31. We couldn't believe our luck. Not only did we get our hands on some pretty sweet gear, but also a huge backpack full of loot. So with 3 kills to pad out Rickard's KD, we decided to go checking if Big Red was open, which it was. So we collected our documents and got out. This was one of the most successful raids of the wipe, and even though we had used tactics that some people might find distasteful, we had a great time. Having secured the documents for Proper, he told us we had to go into factory and plant them in a little shed. So we took our best gear and went in. To hide the documents, we would need to stand completely still and unable to defend ourselves for 10 seconds. Not a long time in any other situation, but long enough when you start hearing footsteps. No. What had supposed to be a quick plant and scoot had turned into a siege. As I desperately tried to patch up myself, Rickard kept the barbarians from our gates. But eventually my knight in shining armor ate it, and I was left fending for myself. I killed 2 more PMCs and a scav as I tried to retrieve my fallen comrade's stuff, but as I made my break for it, I was mercilessly gunned down by a guy with a handgun. Well, shit. But we had planted our stuff, so all in all, the raid was another success. Day 7. We were back on woods to kill scavs with bolt-action rifles from 40 meters away. Things were shaping up to be a pretty normal run when I got called away. So I lay down in a bush out of the way, thinking I would be safe, and left to take care of the situation. When I eventually returned, I was dead, and the guy that killed me has added me as a friend. Thinking he was a hacker who was about to gloat, I prepared for the worst. Turns out he was level 39 and I had been the last kill on a very difficult quest, where you have to kill 3 players in the same raid with a bolt-action rifle. To express his gratitude, he wanted to make it up to me. So I told him to send me $50 in unmarked bills in a plain brown envelope to my home address, Big Dick McAwesome Street 69. And he had 3 days to do it, or I would find him. I also asked how the fuck he was level 39, and he told me that he slept for 4 hours a day and played the rest. Good God! Feeling for him, I decided he could keep the $50 since he obviously needed it more than me, but he insisted on making up to me, so we loaded into woods and he gave me an SV-98 sniper rifle with a flare and a slick armor 6 vest. The best thing in the game, basically. To repay his generosity, I then shot him in the head. White Shadows, if you're out there somewhere, we are your friends, and this is an intervention. For the love of God, get some help, my guy. Wanting to use my newfound powers for good, I sniped at a couple of dudes by the FOB and killed this guy who thought it would be safe in a bush. Basically recreating what had happened to me. And then I made it out, sold armor for about a third of my total cash, which made me rather upset. How dare he? How dare he give me this shit? I don't need his charity. I was doing fine on my own. I don't need his fucking money. God damn it. But that didn't stop me from keeping the money. A few more raids after that and we had reached level 15. We got access to the flea market and the game opened up for real. And there we have it, a snapshot of my first week in the new Tarkov wipe. Overall, I had a pretty good time. Tarkov for me has always been about shooting the shit with the boys, killing people, and just having a good time. I don't really care about quest or meta shit. A real man should use a gun because it's fun, not because it's the best. And with that, I would like to thank you all so much for watching and for all the support on the Warhammer video. It really blew me away. So thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.